Hi everybody, it's Norma, and as you guys know, if you've been watching any of my videos in the last couple weeks, I have been hauling some Kringle candles. So it's getting to the point now where I'm getting ready to start reviewing some of them. So I thought I would start with some of the fall ones that I've been burning, and then we'll move into some of the holiday ones. I am taking a little bit of time in getting these reviews up because I do want to burn the candles, at least give them several burns, try to get to the halfway point or close to the halfway point. Now with this one, it was urgent that I get the review up today because the candle is almost done. So let me read you the scent description. It's deeply sweet and rich pumpkin accords with abundant touches of vanilla, hot caramel, and cocoa powder. And the scent notes on this are listed. And basically it's anise, cocoa powder, cotton candy crystals, creamy frosting, hot caramel, and sweet vanilla. Oh, yum, yum, yum. Frankly, I was not going to get this candle. There were like just so many other scents I wanted to try, and pumpkin frosting. I just kind of thought in the back of my mind that this might be a lighter scent, so I was going to pass it up. But many people in my Facebook group, when the 40% off sale first started, were like going goo goo gaga over this. And some people had the melts, and they said the melts were pretty good. So I decided, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and get the candle and try it and review it for you all. And I'm kind of sad to say that out of the batch of candles that I got, and as you guys know, I got quite a bit, that my first review is not going to be very positive. For me, this candle was basically a dud. Yeah, it was a dud. The one note that kind of like scared me into not wanting to get it in the first place was the cotton candy. I'm not a real fan of candy type scents, and I just, cotton candy scents to me just seem to be really light. And that's the problem with this candle. It's just really light. It's, I'm trying to describe the scent. I don't really get the cocoa powder and the hot caramel notes in here. To me, it's mostly like a frosting type scent with a hint of some warm spice. It's not cinnamon, it's not ginger, it's not clove. There's just the warm spice. So it's probably the combination of the anise, cocoa powder, and caramel that give it that warmth. I guess I like my pumpkin spicy. So to me, the scent itself, for me, is not that very appealing. I mean, because it's basically mostly like a vanilla frosting type scent with a hint of warmth and spice. Now, the candle itself, hang on a second. The candle itself is light, and the throw for me was very light. I tried burning this first in my computer room, which is the smaller. I have 2 bedrooms, and it's the smaller of my 2 bedrooms, and it's typically the room where I get the best throw. So if a candle can, throw in that room, then I try moving it to, other rooms to see how it does. And I could not smell this in that room. So I tried moving it into a bathroom. I couldn't smell it there. So I ended up moving it into my larger room as basically a placeholder. I needed a candle in a spot to fill a hurricane, and so that's basically where it's been. It's been a placeholder. Now, the scent did improve when I got past the halfway point. So I could smell it like if I stuck my nose in the jar, where before I couldn't even really smell much of it. So that's one reason it took a long time for me to review the candle, because I couldn't even smell it enough to really describe it to you. But like I said, once I got past the halfway point, the scent did improve enough where I could at least smell it. And it's basically just a warm vanilla type scent, you know, not too much pumpkin, a little bit of pumpkin, you know, but it's just didn't do it for me. I don't know. I don't have the melt in this, so I don't know if the melt would do any better. I probably wouldn't get it simply because, as I said, I just prefer my pumpkin scents to be spicier. I like the cinnamon and the clove pumpkin type scents. Now, performance-wise, it did pretty good for most of its life. Until I got about halfway and I trimmed one of the wicks too short. Now, this candle, I didn't have to trim the wicks very often. There's a lot of the Kringle candles have wicks where you don't really need to trim them. And, you know, I remember in our Facebook group, the CEO, Mick Kittredge, was asking us, you know, what would we prefer? A candle that throws like a beast, but you're going to have to always trim the wicks, or a candle that you don't have to worry about trimming the wicks, but you might sacrifice some of the throw. And there was dividing opinions upon everybody upon which it is, but I believe this is one of the candles that has a wick where you don't really need to trim it that often, and maybe that's why it's having some throw issues, because I rarely had to trim the wicks. However, when it got to the point where I did have to trim the wick, I trimmed one of the wicks too short, and because it seems to, like, you know, self-trim itself, I had a really hard time getting that second wick going again. In fact, it's just struggled ever since. So about halfway through the candle, and you can see which one it is. It's there. It's just barely keeping it alive right now. It actually blew itself out before I started the review, so I had to relight it. And, you know, I guess part of that's my fault because I did trim it too short, but usually I can get a wick going again when I do that because I'm famous for trimming my wicks too short. But yeah, it just struggled. So I think that really did impede the throw on it. But up until then, I mean, you can see the first top half of the jar is really, you know, clear. I had no issues with it. And then when I started to get into the wick struggling part, you can see there's some residue left because it didn't melt all the way. And then I have some scorch marks from my lighter because I kept trying to light the thing. So basically, I guess I don't have too much else to say about this candle. Like, for me, it was a dud. The scent was just, you know, blah for me. You know, it wasn't something that, you know, I would, even if the candle threw great, it's just a scent I probably wouldn't get again. It's just, you know, I like more spicy pumpkin scents. Performance, you know, had a few issues with that wick. Other than that, it was fine. But yeah, a little bit of disappointment because, you know, I do love pumpkin scents, but this one just didn't do it for me. So there you guys have it. If you guys like this video, please comment, like, and subscribe below, and have a blessed day.